at home. Can you hear me okay if I'm back here? Yeah, back here, back here, over the cliff. Okay, thank you very much. You're going to start with a brick block and a belt. And standing up, I'm afraid. Sorry to say. Very simple. Brick block right at the top of the thighs. The belt tied up round the thighs. A little bit of faff at the beginning. It's okay, isn't it? Can be done without brick and belt, of course. Just waking up the adductors, the inner thighs. So the feet should be a little way apart to allow space for the brick. Arms are by the sides. I think it's natural for the tummy to tone. It just draws in and up. And the pelvic floor has a little support. Morning, Claudette. So we study. This is part of Kriyā Yoga. One of the 3 systems taught by Patañjali in the Yoga Sūtras is Kriyā Yoga, which he introduces us to at the beginning of the second pada. It's getting a bit nerdy now. Second chapter of the 4 chapters of the Yoga Sūtra. So he says, tapasvajya yeshwara pranidharani kriya yoga. So tapas is discipline, enthusiasm, zeal. Morning, Ollie. Discipline, enthusiasm, zeal. And swadhyaya is study, a sort of fascination. So we're studying through movement, through investigation. We've got a brick placed oddly between the thighs right at the top and a belt wrapped around. And I find I move my feet as part of my investigation, part of my study. So you're moving your feet, you're spreading your toes, you're replacing your feet multiple times. Shoulders are down, head is up. Breath is through the nose if you can. And we can feel this engagement with the gluteal muscles and with the adductor muscles because of the brick being placed as high as is comfortable up to the very top of the thighs with the brick wrapped around. Breathe deep, head in line with the spine, breathing through the nose. Multiple movements, multiple meditative movements, tuning us in into this lovely Tadasana with the brick, gently held, with the thighs deepened, with the tummy lightly toned, with the pelvic floor supportive, adhara, muladhara. With the head energetically aligned with the rest of the spinal column, meaning it follows the same energetic flow. There's an equality to that energetic flow. Toes are relaxed, breath is deep. Light tone in the tongue. Now concentrate next on the pectoralis muscles. So noticing how they release. It's not an action of a person. Any action of a separate autonomous person is karma-filled, karma-driven. And you can't really win the karma game. You hear about good and bad karma, but actually for reasons that are not that complicated, but take a little bit of explanation, you can't win the karma game. You just have to step off. You have to step off. And so you do that by reabsorbing subject into object, object into subject, experience only. And one way to experience that is to look at equal flow, upeksha, all over the body, equal flow. It's a really wonderful project. So you feel the inner thighs, you feel the gluteal muscles, you feel the back thighs, you feel the quadricep muscles on the front of the legs. You feel the back muscles, they're active but soft, so there's still flow, equal flow. We feel the tummy muscles so that we can keep length through the core of the abdomen. We feel the chest muscles, which release tension to do with being a person, a separate, autonomous person. Breath, breath, breath. Play, play, play. Crown of the head, as I mentioned, lifting so you feel equality through the neck, including the upper back. Equality through the neck, including the upper back. Now imagine underneath your arms, this old one, balloons inflating up between your body and your arms. So in your arms, just resting on those balloons. And they keep inflating. Huh? And your arms keep resting, re-resting. So it's this combination of softness, selflessness, and lift. Now as your arms start to rise up, start to turn your palms forwards and eventually up. So now the back of your arms are resting on the imaginary balloons. Why they're there, no one knows. But they keep inflating, that much we do know. Until the arms begin to lift up, almost as if you're holding on to balloons, now helium-filled balloons that are rising your arms up, pulling your arms up. And through investigative movements, starting from down low, moving the pelvis left, moving the pelvis right, moving the toes, finding the lower back. For investigative movements, we increasingly incorporate cells, muscle fibers, muscle spindles into the project of absorption, where everything in the end is doing the same as everything else. It's coming together over this. Readapting John Lennon's lyrics from one of his songs. Come together right now over this. Okay, big, wide circle with your arms, hands to prayer position. Breathe through your nose if you can. Jaw soft, eyes soft. Interlace your fingers, stretch your arms diagonally, raise your arms up that way. Light tone in the tummy. Investigative movement. The avoidance of gripping in the toes is a pointer to a general avoidance of gripping. And what's the opposite of gripping? Flow. Gripping is where we grip, grasp, or grab. Passing, transitory moments in awareness as if they were mine or myself or happening to me. That's what gripping is, grasping, grabbing. Take a big wide circle, bless you. Big wide circle, hands on the hips, widen the chest. Breathe through your nose. Feel that lovely muladhara, that root support. That lovely muladhara, that root support. Until you feel that going right up, nudging energy lovingly, reminding energy to go into the central channel. Reminding energy. Okay, nice and easy. Release. Release the brick. And by release, I don't mean release. I mean replace. This time we're going to replace the brick betwixt, which is a way of talking apparently, betwixt the knees. And the belt goes down lower onto your shinlets, which is an anatomical term that you won't understand unless you're as clever as me. Shinlets. So when you've placed the brick in betwixt the knees and you've stood up all tall with no panic, don't panic, Mr. Mannering, from a program in the 70s. Light tone of the tummy, pelvic floor lifting, head in line with the spine, shoulders down. We've talked about as if you're holding heavy shopping bags. But we've also talked about pushing the crown of the head up, as if by pushing up into the soft tissue, you could stimulate a sort of downward cascade. So you push the crown up and you stimulate a downward cascade that is of the soft tissue. So the bony, the skeletal body pushes up, and then the soft tissue, skin, muscle, that, relatively speaking, sloughs off, drops down. Can you imagine? Push your head up, the very crown, the very top part of the head, the vertex, and then feel that sloughing off without holding the breath. Shoulders are down, arms are releasing away from the body, armpits are softer, eyes are happier, jaw is easy, toes aren't gripping. Breath is expressive, indicative of the fact that we're now in, ladies and gentlemen, may I announce it, spring. Hurrah! So breathing through the nose, find the pelvic floor. Okay, take all the fingers a little bit and release yourself from most of that bondage. And yet, we shall rebind ourselves using the belt and maybe widening it a little so you can put it on like a jacket. If you just think jacket, you'll be fine. If you think I'm putting a belt on me and I don't know how to do it, you'll panic and get confused. But if you just think jacket, you'll be fine. Like you're putting on a jacket, like someone's helping you at a lovely restaurant. Let's say, for example, McDonald's. So arms by your sides, wearing your lovely jacket. It's a little skimpy. Probably wouldn't keep you warm in the winter. But it does press on the lateral margins of the pectoralis, the chest muscles. And that gives the invitation, and that's all it is, to release the pectoralis. So start with your toes, loosen those, spread the whole tissue in the balls of the feet, and then loosen the pectoralis. So you can feel the invitation. It's like someone's just gently pressing their hands against your shoulders and saying, release back that way. And it's up to us. We can choose to or not. But the recommendation is to agree with the breath. To agree with the breath. So the arms drift back. The pelvic floor offers some reminder. The Sanskrit word smriti, the Pali word sati, as in Vajrasati, a reminder to nudge energy, to keep energy, to direct energy in the central channel through whatever means work, movement, pelvic floor buoyancy, intention, central channel, breath, breath, breath. I've got a friend and I asked her once, if you could only choose one yoga pose, what would it be? And at the time it surprised me, she said Tadasana. And I've thought about it ever since, actually, because that's the kind of guy I am. And I think she's right. I think it's a great choice. There's so much going on. There's so much subtlety going on. Gluteal creases can deepen. Front thighs can lift. The gluteus maximus on both sides tone without squeezing together. Deep tone. There's depth from the back of the legs, lift from the front of the legs, openness in the groins. Can you feel? Openness in the groins. Depth from the top of the outer thighs. Wideness, release in the chest. Wideness, release in the chest. Now we're going to place our hands on the hiplets. It's another anatomical term. I don't mean to baffle you with my knowledge. Step your feet wide. Hands on the hiplets. Breathe through your nose if you can. I apologize for this nasty stuff coming in. I think it's called sunshine. Left toes in, right foot and leg coming out. So turning on the ball of the foot, finishing off the turn on the heel. Heel to arch, breathe through your nose. Raise your arms. Feel the invitation that the belt is giving you and accept the invitation. Feel the invitation of the pelvic floor, nudging up. Now raise your lead arm, inhale. Exhale. Both legs intelligently toned, responsively toned. Working into it, fiber by fiber, listening and responding, moment to moment. Uttita Trikonasana. Breath, breath, breath. Feel the invitation of the belt and accept it. For the arm to release, the chest to release, the breath to release. Jaw soft, eyes relaxed. Expressive. Expressive of shedding. Whatever the mind took hold of. Literally, whatever. Inhale, come on up. Feet face forwards, hands on hips. Breath through the nose if you can. Deep, expressive, and honest. Whilst taking them, turn your back toes in, front foot and leg out on the ball of the foot. Finish off the turn on the heel. Heel to arch alignment. Make sure your toes are spread and happy. Raise your arms. Keep happy toes. I think there's a film called Happy Feet, but it's happy feet and toes. Is it about dancing penguins? I think it might be. Inhale, exhale. What could go wrong? A film about dancing penguins. It's already a hit. Breathe through the nose. I think I might have seen it, and I think I liked it. I think it's lovely, isn't it? Jaw soft, eyes relaxed, brain relaxed. Investigative. So this is the second part of Kriyā Yoga. First part being zeal, enthusiasm. A sort of passion for practice, you could say. Second part, investigation. Like from a point of view of fascination, fascinated to the point of absorption in that which knows, Ishvara Pranidhana, throwing yourself in front of the Ishvara or Ishvara, which is pure consciousness. Oh, at least it is to Patañjali. Good job. Inhale. Come on up. Make sure your head's not being pushed forwards by the pata. Sometimes I like to just bring my thumbs to the pata and move it so that the seventh cervical vertebrae is spacious. Then we're going to turn the left toes in, right foot and leg out, turning on the ball of the foot and finishing off the turn on the heel, checking that we've got heel to arch alignment, straightening out the arms, relaxing the toes, making sure your back toes have turned in by looking at them and telling yourself, is that in or out? And if it's out, that's wrong. If it's in, very good. Bend your knee, back and forth. Stretch between the legs. Investigatively. Investigating absorption. Investigating a return to Ishvara, described by Patañjali as Klesha Karma Vipakashayara Paramrishtaha Purusha Vishesha Ishvaraha. Meaning, that which is unaffected by klesha, affliction, karma, action, vipaka, fruits of action, and ashaya, stored up stuff. So all of that exists, one that is unaffected by it. That's the purusha, that's essence nature, that's open consciousness. Keep playing your way into it, listening, responding. You can do anything to get deeper in, rather than holding yourself in and waiting to come out. Look at ways of getting deeper in. More cells coming in to the pose. Inhale calmly, strong legs. Feet face forwards, hands to hips. Deep breath comes in and out. 2 or 3 or 4, enjoying the depth of the breath. Enjoying the depth of the breath and the way it releases muscles as we turn the back toes in, front foot and leg out on the ball of the foot, finish off the turn on the heel. Heel to arch alignment. Raise the arms. Release the roots of the neck. Bend and extend the front leg, reaching into the back leg. Playing to incorporate what feels almost like endless muscle fibers. You can find one and then find another. There's so much to take care of in a loving, wonderful way, to bring everything together in a loving, wonderful way. Head can turn, breath is deep. Virabhadrasana. Vira, of course, means hero. Bhadra means auspicious or good. So back and forth, ranging around, looking for deeper layers or levels of absorption, of gathering, of bringing together, rather than tolerating the pose. We're looking to bring everything together in this amazing pose, Virabhadrasana. Beautiful. Inhale to come up. Hands on hips, feet face forwards. Walk your feet towards each other if you don't mind. Thank you very much. And then take the belt off. The thing is to be calm when you're trying to take the belt off. Don't panic. Loosen it off a bit first and then remove it. Once it's removed, take another deep breath or two and step the feet apart. Hands on hips. Breath through the nose. Check your toes are equidistant from the front of the mat. Drop your hands from the hips to the hip joints, where the pelvis articulates from, and articulate the pelvis so you can feel that articulation right at the top of the outer thighs. Now, from that point of articulation, with concentration as your focal point, we're going to lift our arms up from that point. So for me, it takes quite a lot of honesty, because we could easily sort of cut that corner, couldn't we? But if we're really thorough, if we really take care of the small stuff, just concentrate on the minutiae, on the little stuff. Like, yes, I'm going to lift up from that place of the hip joint. So for me, I still move my hip joints a little so I can feel where they are. And then I'm concentrating on the softness that gets access to the body, the calmness that facilitates connection. And then I'm going to stay with that. We're going to stay with that softness that facilitates connection. As we turn our back toes in, front foot and leg out, whole body's turning towards, in this room anyway, towards the sun. I think that's what that orb of light is in the sky. I believe it's called the sun. Lightly tone the tummy. Breathe through the nose. Don't forget you can walk further across the width of the mat if you need to square up more. Absolute minimum is heel to heel. We never do heel to arch in this kind of alignment. But we can go as wide as hip width as is required. Listen to the release of the inner groin on the back leg as you inhale, raise up. Exhale, bend your front knee. But focus on the inner groin of the back leg. That is to say, the top of the inner thigh on the back leg, which we tease that tissue round. One way you might do that is lifting and landing the back heel, or multiple other options of movement of the back foot to tease the inner groin tissue round so that it twists, it lifts, and we release into that lift. This is a twist, a lift, a release of the iliacus and psoas, both sharing the same connection point on the inner thigh. This is Virabhadrasana, number 1. Inhale with the pelvic floor in your awareness to come up. Turn back to the front arms through a big circle, feet face forwards. Deep breaths. Love to hear you take some really deep breaths and feel those intercostal muscles stretch. Feel the diaphragm release. Feel the body energizing with prana. When ready, again, this discipline. It's tricky, isn't it? But we practice discipline. That's the first part of Kriyā Yoga. We're going to raise the arms up from the hip joints. So tapas, from the root tap, which means to heat up. So tapas has lots of different meanings. It can mean the sort of heat that's created through practice. It can mean the heat that's created through mantra. It can mean the heat that's a significant sign of passion, absorption for our subject. And on and on. Tune into the pelvic floor. When you're ready, back toes in, front foot and leg out, whole body's turning the other direction. And again, we walk front foot further across the width of the mat so that we can square up. So away from this side of the room, we really want to square up. Then you might lift the back heel, externally rotate it and bring it down again. Again, so that you can square up. Light tone of the tummy, a focus on the inner groin of the back leg as you inhale. Lift up, exhale, bend the knee, Focus on the inner groin of the back leg as you play with the back foot to twist, to lift, and to release. The main focus on that psoas, iliac psoas, connecting to the top of the inner thigh. We can feel it stretched across the pubis on that side of the body, the back leg side. You can feel it stretched. And then it goes underneath. It's held back underneath the belly muscles and connects finally to the sides of the lower spine, right up to the beginning of the ribs. So breathe into that twist, lift, and psychophysical release. Twist, lift, and psychophysical release. Inhaling calmly to come up. Turn back to the front. Well done. Hands on hips. Breathe through the nose. Shake it off. Breathe deep. We're going to forward fold. So if you know you need bricks, then please take bricks. Definitely turn the toes in. Do what you can for the little toe side of the feet. So repetition of stretching out. Lift up from the inner groins on the inhalation. Exhale over the top of the front thighs. Hinge from the hip joints. Thighs gently rise down to your brick or the floor, any height of brick that you find can help you in keeping anterior spaciousness. That is a sense of space along the front face of the spinal column that you can feel is connected with flow, is connected with breath. So space along the front face of the spinal column is a lovely project to engage with. Adjust your feet, readjust your feet as many times as you need to, as well as the space in the front face of the spinal column. Balancing the heels is absolutely engaging us with the infinite. Because there's so many layers, you can keep refining where the heel bone goes through the heel flesh, which is fatty tissue, by the way. And you can then place the heel in such a way that you balance that fatty tissue evenly between inner and outer foot. If the lower back dips down into a concave, then go with it, folding over the groins, hinging from the hip joints. It's not important to go lower. It's important to go lower if your lower back dips. That's the circumstance. Because if the lower back dips and you just keep letting it dip, it starts to feel compressed. Breathing, balancing the weight on the heels. Breathing, balancing, rebalancing. And calmly coming back to your highest point on fingertips or blocks. Walk your feet a little closer, firm up the legs to intelligent tone, and use awareness as you come up to come up. Walk your feet towards each other. Take your pata, which is hopefully still in a loop, and put that behind your back, or put your arms through it, your hands through it. And face the short end of your mat, facing towards the arbitrary midline of the room, which I'm walking along. Place your feet together. What a silly man. Place your feet together. Breathe through the nose. Chest lifting. So it just keeps the arms back. Then we're going to take the foot that's closest to me back to tippy toes. And then really extend up through the front line of the body. So tummy's drawn in, chest is really opened, breath is deep. Keep taking your foot back and tilting forwards until your foot comes up, driving calmly energy up through the standing leg, not holding the breath. Breathe easy. So building strength. Calmly place your foot back where it was by bending your knee back behind you, the foot goes, and then bring it forwards. Take a deep breath. Shake out, breathe easy. When you're ready, the other foot goes behind you. And one of the nicest parts of this, I think, is the stretching of the front part of the body from pubis to chest. So that's that tummy drawn in, that lovely stretch. You can really experience it. And if you tone the tummy while stretching the front of the body, then you get that buoyancy of the pelvic floor that nudges and reminds us the only peaceful place on the planet is in the heart center, in the central channel. So the heart center, of course, is the center of the central channel. So we can just focus on the central channel itself. So bringing energy into the central channel, awareness into the central channel, this is the peaceful place because it's Advaita, non-dual. Everything that's dual causes discomfort of some kind. When you experience something very, very pleasant, there's somewhere in the back of the mind a sense that, you know, it will go, and when it goes, it will be unpleasant that it's gone. It's a little sort of shadow. So even the pleasant has that little shadow, and then the unpleasant is obviously unpleasant. But the middle is peace. It's beautiful, and it allows everything. It's love, actually. Keep taking your toes back, toning up your standing leg, breathing through your nose. Don't rush. Take your time to bring your body to wherever it comes. Be brave. It's a bit scary, isn't it? A little bit. Be brave. Extend through the big toe side of the raised leg foot. Okay, well done. Reaching back by bending your knee, place your foot back behind you like it was. Then with the bent knee, spring the foot forwards. Release yourself from the belt. Take your feet hip width apart. We might need a block because we're going to forward fold. Spread your toes, raise your arms, tone your tummy, release the neck. Inhale, lift high. Exhale, fold over the top of the front thighs, hinge from the hip joints, hands down, breathing through your nose. Because the back chain is one, movements of your feet can release your back. So don't underestimate moving the body, moving the feet, moving the toes, spreading the toes, moving intelligently, moving investigatively, breath-centeredly. So spreading the toes, replacing the feet, lifting the heels. These are all things you might do to increase the holism of the experience, the holism. Every cell coming along for the ride. Sometimes it feels good for some to hold the elbows and hang deliberately from the hip joints, the top of the outer thighs, rather than hanging over the belly button. We're hanging from the hip joints. Breath is deep, toes are relaxed, thighs are toning up, front thighs, middle of the front thigh, depth of the front thigh, jaw soft. Hanging from the hip joints. Strength in the front of the legs, means integrity. It means
coming together. It means incorporating. So we're incorporating various cells, various fibers, in any way that we can. And if you do start to feel that tone, that intelligent tone, that strength coming through the front of the legs, then you'll find that the back of the legs, they release. So breath, breath, strength, strength, adjustment. Now we can release our hands down to the floor, whether you're using blocks or not, by bending your knees if you need to, advancing the hands forwards and taking the feet backwards. Adho Mukha Svanasana, the downward facing dog. Obviously, we'll check that our hands are equidistant from the sides of the mat, making sure the middle fingers face forwards, and we'll also check that the feet are equidistant from the sides of the mat. Extend up through the armpits. Inner, bless you, by the way. Extend up through the armpits. Inner is the leader, inner armpit is the leader, outer armpit follows. And the extension goes right the way up to the groin. So it's like we're stretching up to the top of the front thigh more and more and more and more. And the more we lift up to the top of the front thigh, the more we sort of fold over that. Like Uttanasana, the last pose we did, it's similar. So you stretch up and up and up and up, up and up and up, and fold over. So you have to concentrate on down face dog. The heels stretch back and are released to the floor by the tone of the front thighs. Up and up and up to the groins. Well done. Oh, take your hands a little wider apart, a little further apart, and bring your shoulders forwards above the wrists. Breathe through your nose. Feel free to let the pose move around so that you can absorb into it. Don't hold the breath. Nice and calm. Take the leg furthest away from me and pop the foot on top of the other foot, or just rest the whole leg as you like. But don't hold the breath. When ready, nice and calm, place that, raise the other. Similarly, breathing through the nose, if you can. Both feet back on the floor. A favorite of many people's, though I've never met, is Chaturanga Dandasana. Hovering the body above the floor, often reinterpreted as flopping on the floor. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana is head up dog. You turn the toes, you lift up from the pubis. One of the most important poses you can do. You don't have to like it. You might like it, but you don't have to. But what you do have to do is tone the tummy and lift the chest and feel the back of the arms going down towards the heels of the hands. And keep breathing into that Muladhara support. Well done. Drop the knees, hands and knees. Deep, deep breath. In and out. Take a few deep, deep breaths. In and out. While taking deep, deep breaths, take the arm furthest away from me and feed it underneath your body towards me, palm up. Just as mine's going towards you, yours is going towards me. And then you extend out your other arm to fingertips and breathe through your nose if you can. Jaw soft, eyes soft, throat soft, brain soft. Breathing into the shoulder capsule, breathing into it. A lovely meditative feeling. Breathing into the shoulder capsule. Some people like to jazz it up a bit by drawing their arm back, pushing into the hand, and raising up one leg. That's an option. You don't have to do that option. And if you want to, you can. Light tone in the tummy, breathing through the nose. There's even tell of some who like to bend the leg and reach for it very slowly. Very slowly. Coming out calmly. Back to hands and knees, please. Take a breath. Deep in, deep out. Ignore the fact I turned around completely. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Move your pelvis. Take your arm underneath the body the other direction, away from me. Extend your other arm out. Breathe through your nose if you can, without holding the breath. Breathe into the muscle that caps your shoulder, the deltoid, which has 3 sections, an anterior, a medial, and a posterior section. And each section does a different job. So the deltoid is this very, very strong muscle. It has a lot of work to do. So it really needs this TLC, this love, this opening, this breath. Again, if you want to retract your hand and raise your leg up, that's an option. It's a little bit funky, a little bit of something to do, get you out of the house. Again, it's only optional, but if you want to try bending the leg and reaching so slowly for the foot, you're welcome to try that if you want. If you do reach the foot, you might even start opening up like in Dhanurasana, very slowly, like the bow pose. Calmly. Back to hands and knees. Take a deep breath. Perhaps wag your tail a little bit just to show that you're still happy and chipper. Breath centered. And when you're ready, take the knee that's furthest from me and pop it directly behind its own wrist. The foot moves diagonally across the body and you slowly stretch back, calmly, slowly stretch back. Many people will find immediate release in the breath by coming down. Some like to stay up for a while. That's fine too. What is universal is that we all breathe into the sensations we feel, whatever they might be. If there's tightness inside the knee, we breathe into that and massage it, understanding that the body isn't some object out there that's happening to some subject in here, but the body and mind are one, and universe and everything is one. And therefore, things that feel like they're happening to us can be transformed at that point of oneness. Not when I am trying to do something to my body, but when there is no I separate from the body, when there's experience only, when there's experience only. Experience has qualities. It has urges known as icca. It knows. That's a quality known as jnana. And experience moves without any need for a separate, autonomous, discrete mover. And without the mover, there's nothing for karma to attach to. This is how we become truly, truly light, like a dandelion seed. Truly light. If you're up in the pose, come down a little. If you're down, come up a little so that you can then tuck under your back toes, bring your back knee forwards, come back to hands and knees and take a deep breath that's audible to yourself and to me. Deep, deep breaths, everybody. Even you Zoomers at home, I can hear you taking deep breaths. Make sure they're deep enough for me to hear from where you are. Yeah. When you're ready, other knee to the back of the other wrist, and foot moves diagonally across the body as you slowly stretch back, meditating, massaging into the molecules, either coming straight down to the forearms, because that might immediately release your breath, which is what we want. We want breath release, don't we? Or if you prefer to be in the upright position, that's fine. Or if you like to mix it up between the two, that's fine too. But again, what's universal is the breath, that we breathe into it, that we move into it, that we massage into it. Mm. 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 Deep natural breaths, shedding. Doesn't matter what the mind's taken hold of. Whatever the mind's taken hold of was co-created, is co-created. Whether it be a thought that we think, oh, that's my thought. No, thoughts are co-created. The way our senses are pulled is co-created. I often find it surprising how many people ask me for the next thing that we're going to do. So let's come into that next thing by, if you're down, come up. If you're up, come down a little. And so that you can tuck your back toes under, bring your back knee forward, come onto your hands and knees. And as I say, I'm always very surprised how many people ask me for this, because it tends to be in the zeros. So we're going to lift up the body into Kumbhakasana. What we're going to do is quite simply 2 press-ups. It's as simple as that. And as I say, it's very surprising how many people ask me for this, because it's literally no one. So we're going to come down to Chaturanga, up to Kumbhakasana. Down to Chaturanga, up to Kumbhakasana. That's it. And then you sit in a kneeling position. If your wrists have lots of sensations, try not to worry about it at all. Unless you like worrying, in which case, go ahead. Really go for it. But you don't need to worry, because everything's moving, everything's changing. Sensations arise and pass. And reality is one. Breathing, natural, rolling, easy. Breath centered and calm. Breath centered and calm. Take your hands on the floor behind you, fingers face forwards. Very good. You can use blocks. If you've got blocks under your bum, you might want to put blocks for your hands so you can lean back. We're going to sync up the movement of the chest and the head so that they begin to move as one. So we just try back and forth, moving as one. And then in time, when you feel ready, chest and head move over. And you get a really big stretch, usually around the shoulders. You breathe into it. Some people like to lift the pelvis up in this. You can if you want. Breath, breath, breath. Pull the chest over. Breathe through your nose if you can. Coming out nice and calm. Pushing yourself back to the upright, pausing for a breath or two.
Then bring yourself up to regular kneeling. If you need more padding, fold the mat in half, by all means. We're either going to place the knees hand width apart and the feet will be the same, or if you're very experienced and used to this pose, the legs can be together. One way or the other, the hands go on the hips, thumbs facing round the back, fingers facing round the side, like this. And use your hands to press on the bony ridge at the top of the back pelvis. Press down on that, suck in on the tummy, and lift. And really focus on lift. So you're toning the tummy, you're lifting the lower back, and timelessly, without holding the breath, that's important. Lift. As if you could separate one vertebrae from another, lifting one vertebrae off the one beneath it, and so on, making space and just appreciating that traction, relatively subtle, but very effective traction. And of course, if you keep lifting, there's a chance that you'll keep pulling one vertebrae off the other. The discs start to have a bit of space. It's an incredible feeling. It's a fairly unfamiliar feeling sometimes. But it might mean that in time you start to arch because you're focused on lift. You're not holding a breath because you're focused on lift. The tummy is toned. You're focused on lift. Sometimes it comes to pass that we're so focused on lift and we spend long enough and we're not holding our breath that the back arches to a degree where one could feel the hands could easily reach the feet. Well, in that case, go ahead, but it's not the goal, it's not important. It's just incidental that one might reach the hands to the feet if you find them in that proximity, but the focus is space. Coming up with full awareness of the pelvic floor, and then settling. Block between the heels and buttocks if you need it. Breath deep. Ustrasana. It's a game changer. It's a channel changer, isn't it? Breathe through your nose, jaw soft, shoulders relaxed. And a lot of people say to me when we've done Ustrasana, they say it with their eyes, with their facial expressions. They say, more, Jim, more. So, all right, then. People say I'm a people pleaser. Here I go. Come on up. Let's do it again. You're ready. I'm ready. We're ready. Hands on hips. Let's go with some real enthusiasm. Again, we're not focused on arching. It just might be incidental. What we're focused on is pressing down and making space. Tons and tons and tons of space between the intervertebral discs. So as the tummy is toned, the hands press down, you create a really wonderful sense of traction, and you just keep going with it. A really wonderful sense of traction, and you just keep going with it. And if that means that the back starts arching, fine, but it's arching as a result of focusing on separating, pulling one bone off the other, those large lumbar vertebral bodies lifting off each other. And you focus in a timeless way without holding the breath, importantly. And you just focus on space and lift. And when ready, if ready, hands will come to the feet. Similarly, tummy is lightly toned, pelvic floor lifting, chest pulled over. So that optional hands on the feet is not what we're heading for, but just might be incidental. But most of us concentrating quite rightly on space, 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 space. Coming up calmly, taking a seat, taking a breath, why not? Really deep breath, letting the bum settle, letting the jaw settle, letting the tongue settle. Breath, breath, breath. Letting the spine settle. Breath, breath, breath. Now we're going to send at this opportune moment 3 mantras up through the central channel, starting, visualizing, feeling that the pelvic floor, and moving right up through the Sahasrara, the crown of the head, up to and beyond the Dwadash Anta. Dwadasha means 12. Anta means end, so dwadash anta means is the compound of the two, which means the end, the anta of 12, and what's implied is finger widths. So 12 finger widths above the crown of the head, from the pelvic floor to there. 3 of these mantras pushed up through the central channel. The mantra is going to be Om. Let's take a deep breath for the first, down to the pelvic floor. Om. 2 more when you're ready. Om. Last one extra deep breath. Om. Flagging, clearing, marking the central channel. Deep breaths. Flagging, marking, opening, clearing. That place of peace. And if we want peace in the world, which of course we do, you have to start with peace in the heart. Because all people are people, all capable of the same levels of ignorance and wisdom. But the person who dwells in the peaceful heart spreads peace, inspires peace, inspires calmness, inspires love, inspires relaxation. When we're ready, we're going to bring ourselves to laying on our backs. You might want to keep your legs bent for a bit if your lower back muscles are activated still. In the last pose, make sure you're warm. It is Shavasana, so you might want socks or jumper. It is, as ever, eyes closed, jaw soft. Shoulder blades scooted under to give the buoyancy that we like in the chest, that lovely buoyant feeling. Hands a good distance away from the mat. Generous distance. Eyes closed, acting like very stable mudras. And the mantra Om means I agree. I agree to this, and this is the only thing that has the power to release the mind from whatever it's holding, whatever it's taken hold of. You let this in, you let this moment flood the body, just as it is. When you're ready, enjoy experiencing the energy that spreads through the lower back and pelvis as you move your toes. Enjoy the energy that spreads through the chest and the upper back, tummy, and lower back as you move your fingers. As energy moves everywhere, we start to feel ijja, urges to stretch, to extend, to run a hand through the hair, across the face. When you feel ready to, bend your legs and place the soles of the feet on the floor, scooting the buttocks under towards the heels before taking a deep, deep breath to release. Roll onto your side, facing away from this side of the room, and lay as comfortably as you can on your side. Knees drawn up, tummy soft. Rolling again when you feel ready. So you face towards this side of the room. Again, as comfortably as you can, knees drawn up. Head in light and color. And when ready, bring yourself up easily from the side. May any benefit that we've gained interacting in this way be shared, the alleviation of the suffering of all beings. Oh. Thank you very much for coming. Next week, sorry about my throat. Next week, Pablo will be here teaching all three classes. Please come to all the covered. Every class is covered. All the Zoom except Thursday night are covered. Please come because I have to pay the cover teachers, and if no one comes, I'll be very out of pocket and all sad and crying. So don't make me sad. Anyway, come to all the classes. I'll be in India, old bugger. So lovely to see you. If you want to join me in India next year in January, you can book already for that one, and it's on Kadeen's website. Anyway, it's an advert. Happy to see you. Thanks for coming. Love and peace. See you guys. Love. Thanks, Stella. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Sally. Hang loose now, guys.